A rivalry renewed, and a young one at that. But we welcome you to Virtue Field for the Twin State Derby. I'm Brian McLaughlin with Matt Montel. Seacoast United are in town, Matt. The only team to come here a year ago and beat Vermont Green FC. And when it's Vermont against New Hampshire, you know that there will be some sparks tonight. An early season massive clash. We're excited to bring it to you.
A little bit of bad blood, a little bit of good blood. Where there are neighbors, there are friends. But when it comes to football, soccer, however you want to call it, there is absolutely a rivalry.
We're going to break all of that down, including an interview with head coach Adam Pfeiffer on this pregame show. But, Matt, we have to start at the top with just a little bit of a tweak in the lineup. We're going to break down the whole lineup coming for you as well. Bilal Kamal, the New Hampshire Wildcat, is in the starting 11 tonight. What do you make of that, replacing a guy who's tied for the team lead in Zach Zengi with 2 goals?
I mean, I think it's still early in the season, but when you and I were talking beforehand, it makes sense that Kamal is actually going to be starting. Kamal is technically what you would quote a veteran. We saw his performances last season. They were phenomenal. He was one of our star players for the team. So I'm not surprised that he is starting. He has so much quality, and I think Adam needs to put his best starting 11 that he possibly can, especially for this match, between the rivalry and Seacoast. Seacoast are no joke. They're, I know that they've played a little bit less games. I'm not sure exactly where it's matched up just yet. Now
they have 1 win and 1 tie so far. They tied with Western Mass. Okay. This is a quality team.
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, it makes sense that Kamal is in there, and there's no harm in it. It could be maybe one half, and we see Zengi on in the second half, or it's the entire match, whatever it is. But, from last season, it's short, but it's actually kind of long. Like, some players go back to their programs, they get injured, whatever it is. So we will see Zengi. It's just not this match.
And then something we want to really press and talk about here is some of the consistent players in this 11 for Vermont Green. We're going to get into more on Seacoast in a moment, but those 2 holding midfielders, and Musa Ndia and Daniel Pacella, forming quite the partnership early on this year.
Very, very strong. Very, very strong, especially at the base of the midfield. Across the board, very strong lineup, but those 2, that's no joke. Pacella, obviously, we've already crowned Ashford as captain consistent, but so is Pacella. And then Ndia getting a shout-out from the USL2 official Twitter account. He's getting noticed now, across the entire nation in this league, and rightly so. So I'm not surprised to see either one of those 2 partner together, and it's going to be exciting to see it.
We've talked with Adam a lot about the defensive identity with this team and how he wants this team to be built around that defensive core. It's their toughest test of the year to this point tonight. A young Seacoast attack with loads of talent, Matt. How could that defensive identity play out tonight against really the toughest attack they've seen to this point?
I think after 3 matches, because it's difficult to tell after maybe just 2 and even just a friendly, but, we saw a rotation of O'Neill, Ochoa, Barrett, so we've seen a little bit of everyone so far in the very beginning. But the one consistency that I've seen actually out of this defense is at minimum, they push up to the halfway line, especially when we're kind of keeping possession around the 18, trying to create, a shot on goal, whatever it is. They're high up. And one thing I've noticed, doesn't matter which one of the 4 center backs that have kind of started in these first 3 or 4 matches, is one of them at least is kind of the aggressor. Like, he wants to win the ball off maybe the first bounce or the first one. The second kind of shields a little bit, plays a little bit, as I like to crown it, the Rolls Royce, it looks almost calm, yes. Light one up,
Yep.
But, yeah, outside of that, that's what I think you can see what Adam and his coaching staff want out of their defense. If we're going to play this possession-based game, which I can see they're very much trying to do, and they're succeeding so far, that is so paramount that the back line is involved in it. And then, especially in the attack, when they're that high up, it's easier for players like Messer to get into the attack, and with that cultured left foot of his.
Let's hear from Adam himself. Those are Matt's thoughts. We're going to break down the starting lineups coming up in just a bit. But for now, here's my sit-down with head coach Adam Pfeiffer. Welcome into our pregame interview. I'm Brian McLaughlin, joined by head coach of Vermont Green FC, Adam Pfeiffer. Coach, thanks so much again for jumping on the pregame show. It's a massive matchup today with Seacoast United. How you feeling today as we talk a couple hours before kickoff?
Yeah, we feel good. My voice not so good, but the guys feel good. We've had good couple days of training. Obviously, we had the friendly midweek, and that kind of changes the preparation a little bit. But no, we've been able to get some guys up to speed that only got in last week. So or last weekend. So yeah, we feel good.
Looking at your squad coming into today, 2 wins so far in the league, in the division, 1 friendly win. Just assess overall where you're at this point in the season. I'm sure still learning about your own squad and your own team, but at the point in the year where these points matter, and they are big-time points on the potential table today.
Yeah, I mean, I think, obviously we're in good shape. We got 6 points out of 2 games, so, we're happy with that. I think, in this game, is a 6-point game. You lose it, and they pick up 3 points that you don't get. And so, it's a massive game, and, this is one of the fixtures, last year that we dropped. We reversed kind of one of them at the Bolts. That was a game we drew last year, and I think it's important for us to reverse the games that didn't go well for us from last year to this year. So this is a massive game. There's no sugarcoating it and making it seem like it'll all be okay if it doesn't go well. This is big. I think so far in the league it looks pretty top heavy right now, and that can change really quickly. We know that. But right now it does look like the same 3 teams that were battling for the top of the league last year are there. And to be fair, like, we were pretty distant third last year. So we understand the significance of this game, certainly within the group, and I think the community understands it as well. And so hopefully there's a good crowd tonight.
Anytime it's Vermont, New Hampshire, you can expect the community to turn up a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm a Massachusetts guy, so for us it always felt like it was New York. And here it does seem like it's New Hampshire that we look at, and we want to get the best of here. So yeah, it's a huge game. I think they know it, we know it, and we're going to roll the ball out at 6 o'clock and see what happens.
And there's a lot of familiarity between the 2 rosters. They've got a couple UVM guys. You have a couple UNH fellas. There's a lot of crossover there between guys who are familiar with each other and played against each other in this fixture last year. What have the guys in the locker room been just talking about, some of those returners that are maybe a little bit more familiar with the Seacoast side?
Yeah, there's definitely, open lines of communication, I think, between the players, which is, a little funny as a coach, and just kind of hearing things here and there. Like, the guys are obviously, they communicate with one another. You never want to put too much stock into any of that. But yeah, I mean, the guys are focused for it. There is some turnover, obviously, in both groups. But there is a lot of familiarity, and it is, like, I remember, when I was playing in USL2, playing against my teammates from Boston College was always just like, I remember one time we were top of the league, they were bottom of the league, and the game was just so tight and such a battle because there were just so many guys that share rooms together and are so connected. So it creates for a really sort of tight game, and I think given where the teams are in the table right now and where we suspect Seacoast will be at the end of the season, like we know this is a massive game, and it's a little bit of a rivalry budding, which is a good thing.
Specifically with your group, we talked earlier this season about how you wanted to be solid on the defensive ends. Today, a lot of talent on the opposing roster, especially in the attacking side of things. How do you expect your defense to handle what looks like it could be their biggest test of the season to this point?
Yeah, I think by far our biggest test. Certainly been a focus this week, and I think it's always difficult at the beginning of the season, just trying to get some of those defensive principles sort of nailed into guys, and kind of, you watch a lot of film of players that you bring in, and mainly what gets highlighted and what you see the most is kind of their ability with the football, and what they're capable of going forward. And I think you learn a lot more about players when you're really around them a lot, and defending's a mentality, and the guys that have a hard, tough mentality, those are the guys that you want to rely on in games like this to be able to do the defensive work, and so that's what we're hoping that shines through today. But we'll see. There's a lot of talent on that team on Seacoast. They're obviously proven, won the league last year, so we feel like underdogs coming into this game, and we've got to find a way to get a result.
Coach, I appreciate the time. Good luck today.
Great, thank you.
For the Twin State Derby, Brian McLaughlin and Matt Montel for the most important derby of the day, Vermont Green FC and Seacoast United. Matt, this is going to be a good one. Before we meet the starting lineups, Seacoast, the only team that came here and got 3 points on the road in the Virtue Vault, the Virtue Field of Defense, as Tom Proctor likes to say. This is a team that has defended their home turf so well, but Seacoast are young, they're talented, and they are the reigning division champs. This is going to be a real battle today.
Yeah, I think what we were discussing, too, that, they're a young team. There's a lot of new guys, a lot of fresh faces here, and whilst, you could chalk that up to say maybe that's an advantage to Vermont Green FC, but this is also a rivalry. These guys will be up for it. So this is going to be probably the most difficult match this far into the season. I know we're early in it, but it is Seacoast, and we have this rivalry that's been long-standing for a long time. These guys do show up for it. They turn it up. So I'm looking for this. I think it's going to be a battle, honestly.
Let's meet the Seacoast United starting 11. The Seacoast United Phantoms. They play a 4-3-3, very familiar Jackson Lee, the Perth Australian who plays at West Virginia, starts in net. Harrison Burdos, the rising freshman at Washington at left back. The two in the middle, Hesteron Berry and the Vermont Catamount. Max Murray gets the start at center back. Then on the right-hand side, Charles Strine. They go with a young core in the midfield. Alfie Hughes, a rising freshman at Boston College. Tage Healy just finished his freshman year at UNH. And Ted Cargill, a Boston College Eagle, starts on the right-hand side of the midfield. And then the top three, Ethan Taylor, a returner from James Madison. Austin Brummett, a star at San Diego State and a star at the youth levels. And then on the right-hand side, Sebastiano Musu. He had a pair of assists and 5 goals a year ago for Seacoast United. 4-3-3 for Seacoast, Matt. Vermont Green going with their typical 4-2-3-1. Two formations that I think we can kind of expect how they might clash.
Yeah, similar to actually during the friendly against Montreal, we played against a 4-3-3, and in the midfield, the 4-2-3-1 that Adam prefers has a lot more insurance out of possession, with especially India and Pachella to shield that back four. Not that our back four needs a lot of it so far from what we've seen. It's going to be really interesting to see how these both play. How sometimes a 4-3-3 in the middle can be incredibly expansive. Sometimes they get very consolidated in the middle, and it's very difficult to play out of the middle. One of the things that I'm going to be looking for is that you notice a trend, a style of play out of India and Pachella in this instance, is that when in possession, they try to get it out wide to DRBN and Adams as fast as possible, who have their heels on that white line, on the sidelines, and then they drive into the attack, bringing Messer or Prego, whoever's playing at that left back and right back position. That's going to be interesting to see, okay, can they gain possession, if, say, Seacoast does consolidate it down, get it quick, play it wide, then they have to get expansive.
Seacoast United gets us underway, the 2023 Twin State Derby here in Burlington. Of course, these two teams will meet once again in New Hampshire later on this season. Seacoast, the reigning Northeast Division champs. Vermont Green, of course, were a playoff team a year ago as well. The Phantoms in control first. Nacho Larache heads the top of the Vermont Green formation, earning his second league start in 3 games. DRBN puts pressure on Jackson Lee, again the West Virginia Mountaineers starting keeper. Had 4 shutouts this fall across 15 games. So far this year, Seacoast United has played a pair of league games. They tied with Western Massachusetts 1-1. They're coming off a midweek win 2-1 over the Boston Bolts. Tage Healy going after that long ball, but Bernardo Benny Prego under control for Green.
Really good read from Vermont, actually, right there. They saw Alex Murray. He took 2-3 seconds to pick his head up, and they understood exactly what he was going to do. They all took that step back just to read it so they could win the ball.
Falls kindly for Nathan Messer as he and DRBN an early combination. Back for India. Ochoa Gomez partnering once again with Ashford. The back four remains the same for head coach Adam Pfeiffer from the 3-0 win over Albany Rush a week ago.
Immediately noticing, too, India is actually kind of, he's got a little bit like a free range to go up. Immediately in the first, 20 seconds, he's pressing the ball. We almost win it. because the goalkeeper has to clear it. Again, he's coming over so far left to receive the ball from Messer. It's not even actually necessarily anybody else or one of the center backs, Ochoa coming over for that. That's India. So I'm expecting, based off of just seeing that immediately, he's going to be everywhere.
And there he is, dropping between the center backs, Ashford and Ochoa Gomez. Jake Ashford, of course, wearing the captain's armband. Prego, Ashford. This is the first real spell of possession in tonight's game. Seacoast can hold possession as well. Two teams that like to possess the ball and play through the back.
Everyone getting their touches in, getting warm to the ball right now in the middle of the match. What a ball.
Prego tracks it down from Ochoa Gomez. That was a dime. Prego crosses. LaRache rises up, but it's Lee who brings it down.
Good play, though. An unbelievable cross across the field into that corner. Just sat right off, fell right off the dinner table, and perfect.
Ochoa Gomez playing against his current teammate Ted Cargill and future teammate in the fall Alfie Hughes. All of them Boston College Eagles. There's Ndie picking the pass off from Murray.
There we got Garbian on the wing.
That's kind of what you're talking about, Matt. Ndie reading that pass forward from the back.
Yeah, there's a difference between what I saw out of the midfield from midweek that, the midfielders were a little bit more kind of just, they stayed almost central. They'd obviously come over to, the different quarters of the field, but I'm noticing immediately that Ndie, he's like, no, I want the ball. He's coming close to all these different sections, which is wonderful.
Bilal Kamal's first touch, pings it wide for Diarbian. He was the man of the match against Albany Rush. Diarbian cuts inside and scores! Gavort Diarbian! 3.5 minutes in!
You bad man! You bad man! And that's what we were talking about. Diarbian, he loves to have his heels sitting as wide as possible. He wants to get into space first, and then he wants to drive with his pace into the middle of the field and curl the ball in. Let's take another look at this.
What a finish that was from Diarbian. Wow.
Taking no time, drives in, preps the shot. He's got an opening for it. Oh, and it's just behind that defender. You can see it right there. The goalkeeper just couldn't see it just enough.
The second goal for Gavort Diarbian. He loves playing in front of these Vermont Green fans.
Fantastic.
Well, I thought Manchester City scored quick earlier. Couldn't quite match the 13 seconds. I didn't say anything about your team. Vermont Green FC, 3.5 minutes in. Start this derby with a bang.
Good ball out of the back from Seacoast.
It was really before Seacoast even had the ball inside their attacking half. That pressure comes from Sebastiano Musu. Musu and Tague Healy, the two star returners from last year's division championship squad. Healy led the team with 7 goals and 4 assists out of the midfield, while Musu scored 5 goals.
Watching Kamal's movement right there, too, you can see that this is clearly what they're actually working on between Diarbian or at least Diarbian right now. Well, I'm sure that Adams is going to be in the same way. Is you're seeing Kamal, he makes this diagonal run towards the corner a little bit. It drags 2 defenders. They have to change their positioning, and then that opens up the space for Diarbian. They want him to get in there.
Diarbian, Messer, and Kamal. That time it's broken up and launched clear by Murray. Ochoa Gomez goes through the back of the starting number 9, Austin Brummett, who plays at San Diego State. There's the first big clash of bodies. We're not expecting this to be anywhere near the friendly level that we saw in the friendly midweek.
I don't think I've had a single coach in my entire youth that didn't say, make a statement in the first 5 minutes. Now, that didn't always mean a goal in the first 5 minutes, but that means maybe take a little chunk, go a little heavy in on your first tackle. Nothing too malicious, but let them know this is gonna be a long 90 minutes if you try to get past me.
That is the first real encounter between Brummett and Ochoa Gomez. A striker and a center back quickly greet each other in the air. Ashford, well done for Pacella. And Kamal on the half turn. Vermont Green charging again. Kamal to the hot hand. Gavort Diarbian. Diarbian danced himself into trouble.
It's that quick turf.
Messer earns a free kick.
But immediately, Seacoast need to. Oh, we've got it.
DRB in the early ball. Again, Murray gets on the end of it in the box. There's Tag Healy. Brings it down coolly. Ethan Taylor, another of last year's returners, operates on that left-hand wing. Prego.
Good pressure.
Vermont Green controlling things so far. Nacho Lorach, his first touch, slides it across, a bouncing ball taken away from DRBN. In the end, it was Charles Strine, but DRBN back for Messer. Kamal on the turn, block made. Adams got a piece of that on the rebounds. The pressure is already ramping up.
It's absolutely hot right now. If Seacoast don't get, figure it out, get gathered up, talk to each other, figure this out pretty quick, it's going to turn 2-0 pretty soon.
Now, Seacoast went down early in their midweek win against the Boston Bolts. Had to play from behind in that victory. Lorach, flag is up on Nacho.
Now, see, why can't we get that offsides call at the professional level immediately instead of letting it play out?
Well, we don't have VAR to help us out, unfortunately. Here's another look at that ball slid across that Lee did well to just get a fingertip touch to it.
DRBN in the right place at the right time, too. Just unlucky with the deflection on it.
He is just everywhere. It
He's
feels
hungry.
That's a great word, hungry.
He's very, very hungry. You can see it in his movement. He's just he never switches off.
He liked the taste of that maple syrup after his man of the match performance.
It's that sugar.
Feed me. This is really Seacoast's first touch inside their edge of the attacking third. And again, Green force him backwards. Barry and Murray, the pair of center backs. It is interesting for me, Matt, to see Max Murray playing center back. Mm-hmm. He starred at striker this fall for the University of Vermont, leading the team with 10 goals. Of course, a year ago, he started at center back for Seacoast United in their win here in Burlington. It's his natural position, but he had such a big year at striker for Vermont. It is odd seeing him on the back line. Charlie Adams, early ball, and Lee on top of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of players that I've noticed throughout the USL2 League, at least specifically, but even kind of the higher levels of, MLS Farm League and directly in the MLS, I've seen players, that play in wildly different positions because they have attributes that suit those positions for it. And Alex Murray, very good forward, but he also has, very good defensive qualities. He's got a very good strike on the ball. You can clearly see, whilst I don't really, love the long ball that I've seen so far out of Seacoast, but I understand that's because of the press from Vermont. But he actually has that technique to provide that long ball to try to break the line.
They try to play long through Brummett that time, the focal point of the Seacoast attack. Ten minutes in, a Gavork DRB in. Strike 3.5 minutes in, have Vermont Green in front. Obviously, Matt, so much time remaining in this game, but how important does it feel to score first?
Oh, it's absolutely paramount. It calms a lot of nerves, too, when you're trying to basically, unpick the lock, so to speak.
Yeah.
When you get that first goal, all of a sudden you can be a little bit more expressive. You can kind of try a couple things that are just not as conventional, maybe. Little flick-ons, those kind of things, especially around the box because you've got a little bit of that insurance of that 1-0, that early lead. It also just takes the wind out of the sail of the other team right away.
Cargill shielding the ball from Pacella. Over the top towards Brummett, and out comes Christofferson. Welcome to the match, Nick Christofferson. And Brummett goes tumbling. He stabbed in trying to knock it away and came up worse for wear after the collision with the Penn starting keeper.
Christofferson took it like a champ, though. That was definitely a sketchy 50-50, and it looks like the forward kind of took Brummett took the brunt of it.
Yeah, you could see just he tried to flick it with his right toe, and Christofferson stonewalled him.
Well, it's 50-50s, too, especially with a goalkeeper. If a goalkeeper gets kind of set for it, like braces for the actual impact, it kind of stinks to be on the other end, the other person, when you're coming into it.
Brummett pops up to his feet. That's good news. The 19-year-old San Diego State striker has had quite the youth career, made his national team debut for the U15 United States team, has spent time in the Seattle Sounders Academy after beginning his career with Seacoast United. Kamal. His turn to crash into the right back Bertos. And Cargill. Strine. Now he's the right back coming very centrally in possession. Almost shades of Man City when they slide those outside backs into the middle when they possess the ball.
Yeah, they turn into a 3 in the back. One of them will get forward, either the left back or the right back, and the other one kind of slots in a little bit, especially if the ball is so far onto one side.
Brummett, that's well done down the line by Healy. Anderson cuts it back. Brummett flicks it. Shot comes in, and Christofferson gobbles it up. That was Healy who had a lefty take.
Didn't quite believe in it when he striked it. I think he wanted more placement than power, and good hands, though, from Christofferson.
That was a good look, though, at how Seacoast can strike quite quickly.
Yep.
Classy down that left-handed flank. We knew this would be a test of Vermont Green defense that have yet to surrender a goal on the year.
Well done by India.
Messer, hesitation, and a burst to cruise by Musu. Messer's cross. Murray does well to cut in front of Larache.
Make some noise for our boys. Let's go, boys.
This time the whistle goes against Messer and the green. It's clear that Vermont love working it up this left-handed side with DRB and Messer. Kamal, Pachella, and DA have made what feels like a concerted effort to look this way when they're in possession.
Well, yeah, you start to see those triangles all around the field, especially in possession. You can clearly see India comes over. He forms like one part of the triangle. You have Diarbian up at the kind of the top of it, Messer on the bottom of it. And then it sort of all of a sudden shifts as Diarbian drives in if he gets some space. And then the triangle just shifts, and you start to see Messer. He takes that overlap, and the whole thing changes. Really interesting to see it from like an aerial view.
Adams flick, Larache. DA hesitated for a moment, and Brummett pounced. Seacoast brings it back for Murray.
Getting a little spell of possession, Seacoast. They've kind of warmed up into it a little bit.
Knocked off of Adams' foot by Alfie Hughes. Hughes headed into his freshman year at Boston College, the talented England international. Spent time in the Middlesbrough Academy as well as Manchester United's Academy and Leeds United.
Well then.
He's quite the talent. Part of this young group of midfielders that Seacoast possess. A lot of the players on Vermont Green are collegiate veterans. They've been kind of around the block. You look at the likes of Healy, Hughes, even Brummett. A really young core for Seacoast. Well done by Adams on the turn. Towards Larache.
Just a bit much. That's the turf.
Here's Barry. Lee. And Max Murray. Unable to keep it in was Bertos.
Unforced error.
There's the first duel between Ashford and Brummett. It's pretty clear Brummett, the 6-foot-tall striker, he's won a lot of those target balls forward.
Watching his movement so far in the first 20 minutes, almost 20 minutes now, he consistently, especially out of the back, he takes that look back at especially Alex Murray or anybody. He actually wants that ball over the top. He backs himself to actually beat the center back, whoever his mark is, which is he's not actually coming in close and receiving it and bringing in the midfield for it. He actually wants that almost quick counterattack, as you say. You wouldn't really call it a counterattack because it wasn't Vermont, in attack in the 18 and then win it and it's a quick ball out. But he wants that 1v1 race to go after the ball.
Adams can't keep it. That time deep intended for Anderson. A slight misplay from Ochoa Gomez. Healy was never going to win that race with Messer, who allows it to trickle to Christofferson.
Good communication out of the back line, though, there. Christofferson saying, no, I have it.
There's a physical play with Brummett tangling with Pacella. And Brummett will get a talking to. A bit overzealous on that challenge.
Let him play, ref. Good strength out of India.
And Pacella slides it for Kamal. Green starting to break. DRB in. Messer. Kamal cuts it back, but just in front of Messer. Pacella has some options. Here's Bernardo Prego.
I thought he was going to strike the ball.
Out for a goal kick. Prego touched it last.
Thank you, good people of Burlington. I'm very excited to say that tonight is a sellout crowd.
We've officially got a sellout on our hands.
Tell your friends. 2,500 people here tonight.
2,500 people?
Already full 2,500 in attendance.
Yeah, there is only a couple seats.
They know it's a big game. Two of the top teams in the Northeast Division, an early season matchup.
That's a great ball.
Brummett gets the touch. He guides it wide. Flicks it back just in front of Healy. Eventually Prego under control.
Well done by Alex Murray there. The break was on. If that was just a little bit further leading, I think I would have put my money on DRB and actually winning that race. But that's that darting little diagonal run that we're seeing out of Brummett. He wants that 50-50 race. He backs himself to beat his man, get a touch on it, and then either find the pass or create the shot.
He's gotten himself into some dangerous spots.
Yep, it's definitely his style.
Messer trying to shield it from Cargill. After a raucous start for the Green, in which they scored at the 3.5-minute mark on a Gavork Diarbian strike, Seacoast have definitely gotten themselves settled. Kamal does not get the benefit of a whistle there from Barry, but it's turned back over for the captain, Ashford. Ashford looking long. Kamal just couldn't quite find it for a moment. Eventually located the ball, but at that point Lee had gotten on top. Now here's a bit of the press from Vermont Green. We haven't seen them press all that hard so far. Again, Healy shadowed by Ndie. Christofferson apologizing a bit for that ball there.
Yeah, it's just a little interesting. I think he saw something that nobody else was on the same wavelength as him, but understood.
There's Alfie Hughes. Bertos and Hughes. Murray.
Seacoast have they've settled into this game. They're starting to string 2, 3, 4, 5 passes together. They're starting to get their space and creating little chances here and there.
Strine and Ndie just collided. Somebody I just heard yell, Matt, hit the weight room. Ndie said he just had his feet planted and Strine ran into him, but the foul went against Ndie. This is already, I think, the most physical clash we've seen to this point this year.
Well, the further along the match goes on, and if it stays at 1-0, it's going to just get more physical.
Hughes. Anderson had Prego on his back. Prego's the one who bumps it out of play. Glad you're tuning in with us there, Daniel. He's watching from Miami Beach. Quite the spot to be tuning in from.
Yeah. Hope he's got a mojito.
Pacella. Again, clipping it in the direction of LaRache. With Max Murray along that back line, not many of those long balls are going to fall to LaRache. That doesn't feel like the most obvious way to target him.
It's kind of got to be perfect, and honestly, it's going to be difficult even because sometimes when you have, a 6'4" center back, somebody, who's going to take it out of the air so well.
Oof. Christofferson pressured by Brummett.
Then you kind of revert and you drive the ball along the ground. Like you say, all right, it's difficult because once the ball hangs in the air and you've got somebody so tall out of the defense that's going to get it, well, then you try to kind of like lead that ball on a driven ball across the ground. But he's not slow.
Exactly. Murray going to be marked by Ndie. Murray forward from the back as well as Barry. An in-swinger to the near posts. It was LaRache who got his noggin to it. Back towards Musu. He's the one who took the corner. Dancing against Messer. Kamal got the block in. Recycled by Strine. Anderson tried to connect with Healy. It was Adams who won the ball, but Prego can't keep it. Anderson.
Good
That's
defending.
well done.
Good 1v1 defending.
Anderson remains on the ground. I thought that was a pretty clear, clean challenge.
I think it'll be all right.
Anderson, the James Madison product, remaining on the ground. Vermont Green in no necessity to play the ball out of bounds, but due to Anderson's discomfort, the referee has brought the play to a stop.
Well, let's hope he's all right. He does look to be in some discomfort.
Ethan Taylor, that is, down.
Those, what almost look like innocuous, if it's a foul or a challenge, whatever it is for it. The one thing that I will say, from our view all the way up here, you think that, it's fine, they're all right.
Yep.
There was nothing, malicious or anything like that. But turf doesn't give the same way as grass does.
Yeah.
So sometimes when you plant your foot in, your studs, even if they're just firm grounds, they stick in. They don't slide much at all on turf. So you get these like little pulls to your ligaments, whatever it is, and could be that.
Taylor, this fall at James Madison, scored a pair of goals, had 2 assists. In good hands with the Vermont Green athletic training staff. He is back to his feet, but not putting any weight on that left leg.
Yeah, very, very light on it.
Let's give him a little clap there, guys.
He's being helped off the field.
It is hot out here on the bleachers.
Head coach Adam Pfeiffer and athletic trainer Kate Harney both assisting Taylor back to the sideline.
I don't know if you're not able to kind of even gingerly walk on it
Yeah,
after that might be your night.
And I think, again, what we said initially about Prego winning that ball cleanly probably was true. Just I think the potential injury there happened away from Prego. Even without him taking the ball, it looked like that's
Maybe
when Taylor kind of crumpled. Hopefully, Ethan Taylor is okay.
Yeah, we want to win our challenges, but we don't want to end anybody's season.
Of course, especially throughout the summer months. Messer and company getting ready to put the ball back in play. And as of now, Seacoast's with 10 men out there. We'll see if Taylor's able to continue, but I would expect not based on how he exited the playing surface.
No, he's sitting on the table.
Yeah.
It looks like they have somebody warming up right now. He's coming in immediately.
Couple of people watching our stream from Fairfax County, Virginia. Appreciate you tweeting at us with hashtag #UpTheGreen. Always great to see and hear where people are tuning in from.
Well, that's my old backyard from D.C.
Of course
I have
it is.
no good memories of playing ball there. I always got absolutely smoked. It's a very, very good player pool in that area.
Nathan Messer included from that region. Pachella, that's picked up for a moment by Musu. One back nicely by Ochoa Gomez, but that was nervy. Messer immediately zooming down the left-hand side. Diarbian onside, crosses, and Lee takes it off the foot of Larache.
I think the goal moved a little bit.
Yeah, the
ref
net
needs to
came undone as Larache went crashing into the net with Bertos.
Yeah, the post just moved.
The last few moments have been choppy.
Starting to see a little bit quicker adjustment from Seacoast on that left side. The second Diarbian gets it, I'm noticing now there's 3 players that are, within like a 10-foot vicinity. They're trying to kind of kill that space between him and Messer.
Good look there as it was Bertos who tumbled backwards into the netting and dragged the cage with him. Diarbian hunting. Murray whips it towards Musu. Cargill. Ashford does well.
Well done.
Pachella. And Kamal.
Really well done.
Defense directly into offense. Kamal at the controls with Adams. Kamal's touch a bit heavy, and it's bounced off of Bilal for a goal kick. First league game of the year for Bilal Kamal. He started the international friendly during the midweek. Did not play in either of the first 2 Vermont Green FC wins this season. Picking up that spot that Zach Zangi has had major success in. But we saw him so much last year in that number 10 spot.
Yeah, it could just be getting acclimated to the season. Adam, we don't know necessarily on the fitness levels what they're getting for, I'm presuming they've got the monitors on to read kind of like, all right, what's their VO2 max looking like? Like how quickly are they recovering after sprints or tackles or anything like that? And maybe Kamal was just a little behind and Zangi was ready.
This time it's Ashford who's upset that the whistle goes the way of the Phantoms. Brummett again winning the foul. Brummett looks the part of the number 9 who started all 3 games. Healy turns around in DA, but another unforced error in the midfield from Seacoast. They've had just a few of those where they have looked only a half step off on those passes, but they've been costly.
I mean, it's a young squad, so there's just a little bit of those tiny little pieces of knowledge, like just that experience, just where to put the ball. I mean, any given Sunday, it's a game of inches. It's like literally how much do you need to lead, like knowing where everyone is. And, with youth, that's where you're going to see like those little unforced errors.
Diarbian, a bit of a loose touch, but he reels it in. Messer, his turn to carry inside. And it's open into space for India. Adams and Pachella. That's a late challenge.
That is the yellow.
Pachella remaining down on the turf.
No?
At this point, we have yet to see a
I'm
card
not sure
produced.
why the ref is talking to Pachella, though.
And now Ted Cargill is sticking his nose into the party. Nacho Lorech, the firecracker Argentinian, not taking kindly to his former teammate at the collegiate level and now teammate at the club level getting tripped up like that.
It's interesting that he goes immediately to talk to Pachella.
Yeah.
Maybe Pachella yelled out some profanity. It was definitely a hard challenge. Like studs
we
up
do
on the
get
ankles.
a card.
Okay.
The yellow card coming out and shown to Harrison Bertos. That's the second yellow card for, again, a rising freshman this fall at the University of Washington. So another youngster in this lineup that gets carded early.
It's going to be difficult, too, because he's on a yellow now. We're 32 minutes in, 33 minutes in. He's got an entire half to potentially play, and he's going to have to be very careful about his challenges now.
Are you thinking about not necessarily targeting him in the attack, but working down that right-hand side with Adams and Prego a bit more?
You 100% target a player on a yellow in attack, absolutely.
He's on that left back position in the 4-3-3 Seacoast United setup. And again, they've already had to use one substitution due to an Ethan Taylor injury. There's the 6'5" Murray climbing the ladder. There are not many aerial duels that he will lose, but it's out for a green throw. Pachella, Charlie Adams, and Prego, the national champion at Franklin Pierce. And right away, Vermont Green goes down that right-handed side. Lorech gets a flick, but it doesn't reach DRBN. Strine rising up to win the header.
I like the thought, though. Those are those little flicks that can just all of a sudden completely unlock it.
DRBN dancing. Square ball, Pachella. It pings right to Bertos.
Now, I know it said, you target now that the Seacoast defensive left side, but I don't know. You got to keep getting the ball to DRBN.
He's so nasty. He and Messer.
He's feeling it. He just looks absolutely in it.
Seacoast conservatively back to the net.
Hanging ball.
Miscued a bit by Lee. And DA can chest it to the floor. Prego advancing. Messer asking for it and receives it. DRBN. Prego has come central. Ndie dropping backwards, forming a bit of a back three with Ochoa, Gomez, and Ashford. The long switch from Ashford. Messer's first touch let him down.
Uncharacteristic of Messer.
What a ball that was from Ashford, though.
Yeah, it was.
Both these center backs can hit that long diagonal pass. Charlie Adams, Ndie, and Ochoa Gomez. This is a patient build-up from Vermont Green, but now DRBN steps on the gas. Messer miscues it. That got stuck in the fencing behind the goal.
Half a goal? Is that half a goal? Did you get that?
It's got to be worth like a three-pointer or something.
1.5.
Can we get an extra half a point in the standings, something like that?
Can we get a 1.5 on the board, please?
Get to play with an extra player for the next 10 minutes, something like that. A couple of miscues in a row there from Messer. So rare to see him have those missteps down the left-hand side. By the way, it's Stefan Capetti in the game at the left-handed winger spot for Taylor. Capetti, the forward for Maryland, where he scored 6 goals this fall.
A Terp.
A Terp. One of a couple Terps on the roster. Tonight's backup keeper, Jamie Lowell, one of the Terp netminders.
As you know, I am a Hoyas fan,
Yes.
but the Terps are my secondary team.
No, the Terps are a mortal enemy of my Nittany Lions. So
Understood.
Pachella, that's well done to flip the field. Prego. Benny Prego. Pachella wants it. Receives. Turns to his right. A bit too much from Pachella eventually. If you're just joining us, a Gavork DRBN strike in the 3rd minute of action gave Vermont Green an early lead. Since then, this game has been lacking a bit of a bite.
Well done by Lorech.
That's going to be an intriguing matchup. Max Murray and Nacho Lorech, former teammates at the University of Vermont, playing tonight as real enemies.
Lorech, apologies on my Americanism on the pronunciation, if he's listening later on.
That ball bounces away from DRBN. Musu finds Alfie Hughes.
Alfie Hughes has actually had a pretty noticeably good game, especially under pressure. You know, he looks like he's about to lose it, like the tackle's coming in, but he actually has this really great quality to kind of get himself out of trouble. Like, I understand he has to go back, but instead of losing it, he actually keeps possession.
He's a part of that midfield trio with Cargill, who is the future teammate of Hughes at Boston College, and Tay Keeley, who plays a bit more of kind of your prototypical attacking midfielder spot, sitting right below the striker.
Good quick throw from Adams. Saw the opportunity.
How have you felt that Vermont have performed since the goal?
Managed.
Yep.
They're managing the match so far. I think they're looking, you know, obviously they're still probing it, but right now it kind of feels a little bit 50-50. Vermont getting a little bit closer to the goal versus what Seacoast is doing, but Seacoast doesn't look necessarily like as flustered in that first 10 minutes anymore. They look organized. They look like they've warmed up into it.
Capetti skipped through one challenge, then got fouled. I would agree. It's felt ever since the DRBN goal, things have settled themselves down. And it wasn't just the DRBN goal, though, in the first few minutes. The Green were all over the Phantoms in the first opening five minutes or so.
If you can come out in the first 5 minutes just absolutely blazing, just with just enough measurement and quality, I mean, it's brutal because you're both just you're cold. No matter how much you warm up before the match is the match. Like, the pace is completely different from any training exercise, anything like that. So if you can come out and you can lock it in really quick in the first 5 minutes, that's what you want. Get that first goal. Just set that in.
That's exactly what Vermont Green were able to manage into the 41st minute. Kamal. That's Prego on the advance.
Ball.
Bernardo
Great
Prego
ball.
towards Lorech. Nacho Lorech inside the 18. Nacho has his shot denied.
Doesn't like his left foot. Wow.
And DA. Flag up for Brummett offside.
Not going to lie, that challenge from Ndiaye looked like it was going to be a foul. It looked like he was going to be just a little bit late to it and was going to have to come through him, but he just got in there, got his foot on. Very well done.
Impressive body control, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's another look at the Lorech chance. There it is on his left.
That's what I was kind of looking for. It's like, I understand you have your preferred foot, but can you just swing the hammer with your left foot? You know, see, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just get it on frame.
Take Healy. Messer takes it away from Strine. Still a phantom throw, but well defended by Messer. Charles Strine, a James Madison Duke, whose teammate Ethan Taylor got banged up early on. It falls for Kamal. And now DRBN with some room to attack Murray. Great pace from both of these players. DRBN. Oh, he's so quick. Gavork DRBN. Now it's Kamal. tried to go back to Diarbian.
Great play there by Green.
That is not easy what Diarbian just did to Max Murray. A bit of a miscue from Ochoa Gomez. Musu and Messer just bang into each other.
Have a seat.
That was a hip check. Maybe it hasn't been the cleanest game for Messer to this point, but that was some real authority defending.
You know, sometimes you don't have necessarily on the technical level like your best match. I don't think he's necessarily.
Ooh, Charlie Adams found some space. Now LaRache. Tackle came in from behind.
I thought maybe he would go to Kamal, actually. Like that ball, if he'd let it go, Kamal could have swung his right foot through it.
A dangerous moment created that time by Adams. This time, Prego can't connect with Adams down the right-hand side. Another phantom throw. That stays in play for Healy to chase, but Ashford with him stride for stride. And Christofferson.
Got all that one.
Yeah. Airmailed the green with his wedge.
Pulled out the 6 when he should have pulled out the 8.
Brummett. And there's Christofferson quick off his line.
Oh, no, Jay.
I thought that had stayed right along the white painted line.
I did as well.
Messer cuts in front of Musu. Strine. Sebastiano Musu. Healy's found a pocket.
It's well done.
Strine. And Ashford for a throw-in. How did he keep that?
He hit the flag.
I thought for sure that was going out for a corner. Instead, Strine will have a throw-in deep in the attacking third as the opening half is winding down. Now Messer does concede the corner. Musu will head to the flag and take it. One last chance for Murray to press forward along with Hezron Berry. Musu, a left-footed in-swinger. To the near post where Brummett got a flick. It falls to the back post. Loose in the box, and they tie it inside the final moments of the first half. Tag Healy is celebrating, and the Phantoms even.
Take another look at this bouncing around in the box. Flicks over. Puts it right back into the danger zone, and it's just bodies. It's so difficult. You don't know necessarily where it's going to drop. Credit for being there in the right place, getting that shot off.
The young New Hampshire Wildcat Healy has his first of the season. Led the team a year ago with 7 goals and 4 assists.
Seacoast United snuck in an equalizer.
Right as the clock went to 45 minutes, of course, a few extra seconds for extra time. And now a conversation with Hezron Berry after Nacho LaRache had to go and take the ball from him. So the early Vermont Green Diarbian strike canceled out after Vermont surrenders a goal for the first time this season. That'll frustrate everybody on the green side, right? Just so late in the half after, like you'd said, you'd managed the opening 45 minutes almost to perfection.
Sometimes, you get that early goal and maybe like creeps in a little bit of complacency. It seemed kind of like there was a little bit like, all right, well, the second goal will just sort of come. Like it didn't feel like there was necessarily that level that you needed just to get it finally off, to get the shot off or create the chances for it. Vermont are getting up into that final third, but they're not necessarily creating that final pass, just that little bit of perfection to create the chance.
And that brings the opening 45 minutes to a close. DRB struck first. Tague Healy equalized. And through 45, nothing to separate these Twin State rivals. We'll have a brief halftime report coming up in just a few moments. This is Vermont Green FC football.
Sometimes it's just the start of the journey that makes one follow closely behind. Sometimes it just takes one for a couple to be in the distance. Sometimes it just takes a couple with many more on their heels. Sometimes it's showing people your passion and heart that makes the journey greater every second. It's a spirit of success and to fight for what you believe in. It's grueling seconds of training. Repeat again, one more time. Sometimes it is games that feel like they will never end. And sometimes it's games that you don't want to end. It's what you do after the 3 whistles. Sometimes it's becoming stewards of our green mountains and the lands that sit between our cleats, showing that this world won't last forever unless we cherish it like a goal in the 95th minute of the championship game. Other times, it's breaking the binds of social stigma, racial divides, and inclusion to change and expel the ugly mindsets of those who try and spoil our beautiful game. Sometimes the fight for change is harder than the toughest of defeats. But don't forget that in those moments, that's when it stops being sometimes. All the time, it's a team of players, a family of fans, a passion for a better future. It influences change in our community, in the world of football, and beyond. All the time. It's a community founded by many with the vision of one.
Representative of the Pride Center, an organization dedicated to supporting and empowering LGBTQ+ people and communities. It is an honor to address such a large crowd here tonight and share a little bit about why our work to support LGBTQ+ individuals and communities in Vermont is important now more than ever. Vermont has long been recognized as a state that values inclusivity, diversity, and equal rights. It was the first state in the nation to legalize civil unions for same-sex couples in 2000, and subsequently became the first to legalize same-sex marriage in 2009. Vermont has often been hailed as a beacon of progress and a model for LGBTQ+ rights. Woo! However, even in a state as forward-thinking as Vermont, challenges persist. We are not immune to the current climate of increasingly hateful laws and rhetoric that target LGBTQ+ people. We have seen attempts to roll back the hard-fought gains we have achieved, threatening the rights and well-being of the LGBTQ+ individuals in our own communities. We have witnessed increasing violence and discrimination against LGBTQ people in our schools and our communities, and been on the receiving end of national and even international media attacks in response to efforts to be more inclusive and affirming. It is in this context that the Pride Center of Vermont's work becomes even more critical. We must come together as a community to protect and uplift LGBTQ+ individuals in Vermont. By supporting organizations like ours, you can ensure that resources, advocacy, and services are available to those who need them most. In addition, your support is essential for the mental health and well-being of LGBTQ plus individuals in Vermont. The impact of discriminatory laws and hostile rhetoric on the emotional and psychological well-being of our community cannot be overstated. By standing together and providing a strong support system, we can help combat the isolation, fear, and trauma that result from a climate of hostility. Together, we can create safer spaces, provide support networks, and fight against discriminatory policies that seek to marginalize our LGBTQ plus neighbors. As passionate fans, you have the energy to be powerful advocates for change. By actively supporting LGBTQ plus spaces, events, and individuals in your communities, you can send a compelling message that discrimination has no place in the stadium or in society. Your LGBTQ friends, family members, and neighbors need you more than ever to be allies, standing up against hateful laws and rhetoric, and fostering an environment of acceptance and respect. In conclusion, supporting LGBTQ individuals in Vermont is not just an affirmation of our belief in equality and justice. It is a reflection of the values that define our state, a commitment to inclusivity, independence, and the importance of strong communities. Let us rally together as Vermonters to ensure that every LGBTQ plus individual in our state feels embraced, empowered, and free to live their lives authentically.
So good. Thank you so much, Emily, and thanks to Vermont Green for having us. Happy Pride, everybody!
Thank you so much to Phoebe and Emily there. Important words, eloquently spoken. Now we're going to have a kids game in the middle. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Oh, there's some excellent balls.
Vermont Green FC and Seacoast United even through the opening 45 minutes from Virtue Field. We're here at halftime to bring you some highlights and to just give you Matt's overall thoughts. First, let's take a look back, Matt, at both the goals. Vermont Green got this thing started with a bang tonight. Gavork DRB and strikes 3.5 minutes in.
Yeah, Vermont just coming out absolutely blazing with all the energy, and I think it just caught Seacoast off guard. They just weren't ready. They weren't at the same levels on the beginning, and credit to, DRB, and he took advantage of it, but that's characteristic of what we've seen out of him so far is driving in, from that sideline with super pace, creating just that little window, curls it around that defender, goalkeeper kind of left standing, can't see where the ball is going, and there it is, right in the bottom of the net. And
then at the end of the half, kind of bookending the half, Seacoast United draws level off a corner kick that Vermont just couldn't quite clear.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I think, he wasn't 100% unmarked, but you see that player at the back, off the deflection, unmarked, throws it into, the proverbial mixer. There's just bodies absolutely everywhere. And it, fortunately falls for a Seacoast United player, and all he has to do is tap it in. It's unlucky, but it's not indicative of necessarily the defensive performance that Vermont has had over the first half.
We want to start at the very beginning of this match. Vermont Green came out flying.
Yeah, absolutely. They were 100% ready. And I think, going back again saying that in the first 5-10 minutes is kind of like which team sets the tempo immediately. In Vermont, I think they're just coming off a high, off of, literally not conceding a goal, scoring all these wonderful goals, very confident, and it showed. They were just immediately involved in it. They were driving forward, lots of pace, very clean. And then, Seacoast, they grew into the match, actually, into the second half. You started to see it looked actually pretty even on the balance. Neither team necessarily created a lot of chances after that. I think that kind of leads back into also Lorach having a little bit of a struggle. I don't think that's necessarily indicative of, his quality or anything like that. We know what quality he has, but he didn't get a lot of service. And the one that I did think that he did have an actual solid chance for, I think it was on his weaker foot, his left foot. Now, I might be wrong. I haven't watched him enough to think that, all right, he can strike with that, but I would have liked to him. He tried to create the chance back on his right foot. Unfortunately, it fell apart for it, but it'll be interesting to see if Adam kind of looks to his bench and says, all right, well, maybe Pope comes in for the second half, or he comes in around the 60th minute.
How do they try to generate more chances?
I think you need to get Kamal on the ball a little bit more, a little earlier. I've seen Kamal get on the ball really close to the 18 when Seacoast's defense is a little bit more settled. And that's just basically like pace of play. Like how fast can we get it from, Ashford or the goal, Christopherson, Ashford, and can we break that line, that midfield line to Kamal very early? When you can get it to Kamal, who plays in that, 10 position, that playmaker position, if you get it to him early when he's not immediately under pressure and he's not staring at defenders, then he can start to really find those integral passes to DRBN or Messer or anybody, Adams, any from there. I think that's really just the key, is get it to Kamal and those players quicker when they're not under pressure.
Still 3 points up for grabs, Vermont Green FC and Seacoast United. .45 minutes to play and 3 points on the line between fierce division rivals. Vermont Green FC got on the board early. A Gavork DRB and right-handed smash, but then Seacoast United tied it with their own star midfielder, Tague Healy, equalized in the 45th minute. There is a change out of the halftime locker room for Vermont Green. Zach Zangi has entered in replace of Charlie Adams. Formation remains the same for Vermont Green. It's a like-for-like switch. Zangi will operate on the right-hand side of the attacking midfielders. Bilal Kamal remains in the middle, with Gavork DRB operating on the left-hand side. The Green will begin the second half in possession after leading for almost the entirety of the opening 45 minutes. And the Twin State Derby back underway. An early ball intended for Lorraine that Max Murray climbs into the air and knocks it away from the Vermont Green starting striker. There's the first look at Zangi defensively. He's on again for Adams on the right-hand side. Prego with Ashford, Ochoa Gomez, and Messer remain the Green back four.
Interesting to see Zangi out on the right.
We've seen him operate centrally. First time seeing him on the wing is Ashford, a poor pass, picked up by Capetti. Cargill. And Ochoa Gomez calmly chests it down. Pacella runs into some trouble. Here's Hughes. Neatly wide. Ochoa Gomez got a piece. Healy strikes it, and he's got a brace. Tague Healy, a minute into the second half.
Well, we knew that he's a phenom, and honestly, that was a fantastic strike. There's nothing really Christopherson can do about that. Taking another look at it. It's a good ball into the channel. Deflection out, sits just right for him. Gets it right through the center of the ball. Well done by him. Interesting, first half, very early goal.
Yep.
Based on, just the energy levels that's coming straight out of it. Seeing it right out of Seacoast for this. All right, this is the first real test now for Vermont. They've kind of had it their way for so long. You're down 2-1. How do you respond?
First time trailing all season. Of course, still a very young campaign, but a Vermont Green side that had not allowed a goal, as this time Tague Healy's going to get booked. He just put his shoulder through Zach Zangi, and the young New Hampshire Wildcat, a bit too physical, feeling himself as he's now sitting on a hat trick. Zangi's first impact since coming on. And now down behind the play is Max Murray. Nacho Larache
pleading his case.
I
wasn't looking in that direction, so I'm not sure what happened.
I didn't see it either. Larache known to be fiery. But that's his former teammate in Murray in some pain down on the ground.
Looks like the AR saw what happened.
Spotted something at least, or at least spotted that Murray was down.
Center official didn't see it. It's going to be interesting to see if we can see a replay of what potentially happened. Both the center ref and the AR having a conversation.
This is kind of what you get with Nacho Larache in your lineup. We don't have a great look at it from any of our camera angles. Larache is a firecracker and is shown a yellow. Seacoast United can't believe that Nacho was not sent off. There, you could see Murray's telling Larache what he did. Murray saying that Larache simply stomped on him from behind and now refuses to shake Nacho's hand. The Twin State Derby, officially a rivalry, I think. Not that it wasn't before this, but the first bit of bad blood seeping through.
We're not in our collegiate program anymore, bud.
No,
We're
sir.
not friends.
Good to see Murray up and healthy. First and foremost, you don't want to see anybody hurt, especially in some type of collision away from the ball.
I think it would take something pretty serious to to take Murray out of the match.
Max Murray, the lifelong Seacoast United man who was born and raised in Maine, traveling across the border to New Hampshire to train growing up. Now playing collegiately for the University of Vermont, but he's in enemy territory right now, even though this is his home facility during the year. Going to be really curious to see the response from Vermont Green. It felt like that might have been Larache almost trying to fire up his teammates in his own special type of way that Nacho does.
Right there, that's kind of what I want to see out of Larache.
Good ball. Kamal catches up to it. Prego. Murray keeps him onside. And Vermont Green earn a corner. Good recovery from Hughes.
And it all starts from Larache using his body. If he's going to play as that, lone central striker, as that number 9, you're going to have to get physical. You're going to have to hold off the player behind, settle it, and play it beneath you to the players that are supporting you that are coming up, and that's what starts the attack. 3-4 passes up, you have a corner kick.
Zangi and Messer, the two to stand over it. Zangi, who's tied for the team lead with the pair of goals. He and Nacho both have scored twice during the league campaign. Messer with a lefty in-swinger. Zangi, the right-footed out-swinger, another option. It is Messer. A low ball to the near post that the striker Brummett is actually the one who gets in front of. Zangi tracks it down. Moose to DRBN. There's Seacoast with those sky blue uniforms surrounding Gavork DRBN. Again, Kamal loses out. We've seen him play sharper than this, I think. That's well done by Ochoa Gomez to get it back. Prego in a foot race. Tried an early ball. And it just stays in play. Tag Healy, his fingerprints all over this game. And that time Ochoa Gomez comes up with only air on the tackle. But an early ball for Healy. Ashford covers and recovers.
Very well done. Very, very well done by Ashford. Had a lot of ground to make up for that.
Those long strides helping him eat up the turf. DRBN. Ochoa Gomez.
Great to see number 19
Ashford.
on the field for Vermont Green.
And Zengi. Oh, that was a nasty little move. Had to be a foul. And it is a free kick for the Green. And Zangi's going to set up this set piece himself after drawing the foul. Ochoa Gomez is going to get forward. Ashford remains back. Can Zangi put one into a dangerous spot? That's a good ball. Ochoa Gomez on the back post. He wanted a corner, and he gets the corner.
Let's go, boys.
Zangi's ball was a good one right there.
Fantastic ball, just leading in. Good whipping cross.
And now he's going to set up for the corner as Messer backs away. Ndie, Ashford, and Ochoa Gomez, the big targets. Larache as well, an option. To the back post, and it just skips by Ashford. Jackson Lee got a touch on it, taking a goal away from the Green captain.
Good response from Vermont, though, for after conceding that second goal. Look at this ball. Oh, it's so dangerous.
What a play
just
by
gets
Lee.
a touch. Without that touch, that's a goal.
Again, the great ball from Zangi. His third set piece in the last few moments. They play it short to Diarbian. He couldn't get it back to Zangi cleanly. And Hughes shields it out for a corner. I thought that was off of Zangi, but it's another Vermont Green corner kick. Well, they are upping the pressure. A bunch of set pieces have come in a row the last few moments. Zangi. That time too far for Ashford. But the last few minutes have belonged to the Green. A year ago, it was a 2-1 final here at Virtue Field, going in favor of Seacoast. Matt Black, the former Vermont Catamount, scored, as well as Tague Healy for the Phantoms in their win. The lone Green goal belonging to Ryan Comby. Tonight, it's a pair of Healy goals, while the lone Gavork Diarbian finish for the Green. Again, Zangi, Kamal, Prego, Diarbian, Gavork Diarbian, a right-footed chance that's taken off the line. It's Bertos who gets the save.
Fantastic work out of Diarbian to deal with that. Shift, just a little shimmy just to create the chance. Gets a great shot off.
And now Kamal on the run. Ashford's through ball. Kamal cuts it back. Again, well defended. Zangi commits a foul. But Zach Zangi is in the thick of things since coming on. And Diarbian almost equalized.
Zangi has looked very, very bright starting in the second half. But you can see Vermont, giving up that early goal to Seacoast. They're immediately turned on now. And it's unfortunate that it takes that, but you can see, all right, this is the actual pace of play that they need to play at.
That had Jackson Lee beaten. But Harrison Bertos, headed to Washington in the fall, making his second start in 3 games this summer, steals one from Diarbian.
What a touch.
Zangi, goodness. Kamal doesn't quite get it right on the ball forward. Hughes inviting Capetti to chase. Out for a goal kick. Well, Zangi's looked sharp since coming on. I'll say it again. That was a nifty little flick.
Him and Kamal have been linking up really well, actually, noticeably. They're both kind of occupying like a similar kind of quarter of the field, and they're both, creating these 1-2s, little flick-ons to each other. They're going to be key for it. Unfortunately, though, as I say that, it looks like Kamal is coming off and Larache as well. So
Alfie
it looks like
Pope coming in at striker. And it looks like Federico Tellez entering in the attacking midfield. The early indication is that Diarbian might slide centrally, although we'll get that confirmed.
It looks like he's going to stay out left.
Yep, you're right. And that is actually Giorgio Probo entering the game in the middle. The Italian, who you were so excited to learn, Matt, the two-footed central midfielder who was such a big part of the Creighton Blue Jays' phenomenal success this year. He's now in that number 10 spot. Probo had 14 assists and 5 goals in the fall for Creighton, making his USL 2 debut after appearing in the friendly during the midweek for Vermont Green. There's Probo, with Diarbian getting chopped to the ground, earning a free kick. So attacking-minded changes from Coach Pfeiffer. A different striker, Alfie Pope, who scored an insane bicycle kick in the friendly against CS Mont-Royal Outremont. And Probo also in that attacking mix. Murray bombs it away from Pope. Ashford the first to it, safely back for Christofferson. This is a chance for Vermont Green to take a full control of this division early on this season. While currently they sit alone in second place as Western Massachusetts has exploded for 10 early season points. They've also played 4 games to Vermont Green's 2. Probo. Prego.
Good play down the channel.
Easy 1-2. Prego. Early for Pope. Just a bit too much on it, and Strine was able to keep it away from Diarbian. And then tackles it away from Messer. But the Green have a throw.
And that's what they need to do. They need to consistently keep creating those chances, those crosses, working it down in the channel, get the ball into the box.
Messer looking for Zangi. Prego back for Zangi. He has such quick feet and draws a foul.
And I'm pretty sure that is, what is that, Taylor?
And Bertos, the one who commits the foul.
He's not on the yellow, is he?
He is.
Yes.
He took that first yellow of the game. Good call. He'll be the one that needs to be careful. There's the conversation between Prego and Zangi. Looks like Zangi will be the one who gets the nod. Pope, a new big target in the middle. We've seen him with some acrobatic aerial finishes. Zangi takes a strike, collected by Jackson Lee. Do you think that was a slightly miscued cross or an actual shot?
Yeah, I think that was just a little bit of a miscued cross. I think he wanted it just enough in front of the goalkeeper that he couldn't come and claim it, and somebody would attack on it. But, you know, if that pulls off into an actual goal, nobody's going to care.
The Green scored a few of them from that sideline last summer.
Right.
Owen O'Malley and Deba Nwegbo both ripping shots that beat keepers from this right-handed side. Prego storming forward, and again, Bertos needs to be careful on that yellow, but that's a good, clean challenge. Prego has it back.
Good feet from Prego.
Zangi making the run. And Bertos played it cleanly, appeals for a handball in these Virtue Field stands. Once again, they are pressing the man on the yellow, working hard down this right-hand side. It is funny, you said it earlier, Matt, how this is kind of the mirror of the first half. The polar opposite in that Seacoast scored early. Now they're the ones facing a bit of pressure.
Yeah, they've got the lead. They're going to try to be a little bit less adventurous. They'll press when they see that moment, just like you just saw. But otherwise, they're going to try to stay as defensively solid as possible now.
That's a poor ball from Ashford. Healy gets on it. Sebastiano Musu. Messer recovering defensively. Musu to the end line. Blocked by Messer, but it stays with Musu. He keeps dancing, gets taken down in the box, and play on. That could have been.
Fine margins there. That type of challenge is pretty much left up to interpretation by the center ref there.
We're going to take a look at that play in a moment. That could have easily been a penalty kick awarded to the Phantoms. And it all stemmed from an Ashford giveaway. Pachella eyeing up the run of Diarbian.
Great ball.
Gavork,
Better
Diarbian
touch.
has a man on the overlap. Diarbian cuts it back, and there's Hughes reading it nicely. You're right, Hughes has been impressive.
He's had a really, really good game. He's very calm under pressure.
And this game is opening up. Healy, Brummett clearly offsides, and he knew it.
Good discipline from the back line, though, to draw that out. That was starting to look dangerous.
Here's a look at the foul in the box, or a potential foul. Musu tripped up by Ochoa Gomez. What did you see?
I don't think it looks much. Like, it doesn't look like he kicks out of him. It looks like he plants his foot, and it actually doesn't even look like he makes any contact. Musu just goes over and kind of draws, he wants the foul for it. He's looking for it.
There's contact. Pachella under pressure. Cargill pounces and takes it. Ochoa Gomez won the ball, and Prego able to muscle it for Ndie.
Very well done from Vermont there. Quick to win the ball back.
Zach Zengi goes down.
It's not
much in that either,
Not
I
going to make
think.
a call.
Lee falls on top of it. Zangi looking for the foul. Looked like he kind of lost his own balance there, I thought.
Yeah. I think it was just a little bit too fine margins there for the ref to make a definitive call.
We've got to look at it.
Yeah, just maybe a little bit. Like, Zengi has a little bit of a case for that, but
Capetti kind of leaned on him. But now Probo picks it up in a dangerous spot. Max Murray just got a piece of it with his hip, taking it away from Diarbian on the Stampede. There is certainly much more space all of a sudden.
There's a lot more intensity to the tackles as well. The game has started to heat up now.
Capetti. Bertos couldn't control it along the sideline, and the Green have a throw. It's that awkward spot for a team when you're trailing, right, Matt? You want to press for a goal, but
don't want to give up that third.
Can't afford giving up a third. Pachella. Daniel Pachella probing. And Pope wins it back. Giorgio Probo finds Gavork Diarbian. Diarbian to the end line. Deflection into side netting into corner.
Vermont doing a great job of consistently turning the screw. They're creating chance after chance after chance when they're in possession. This is exactly the response you want to see.
Zangi and Messer again to the corner flag. Messer given the direction to back off. Vermont hunting an equalizer. Zangi. Nodded up by Brummett. Ochoa Gomez got a piece of it. Probo tried to direct it towards the target, and Murray launches all the way to Christofferson.
Calm by Christofferson.
Prego starts the attack. Ashford did not keep it in along the sideline. Another sellout crowd. Anxious. Nervous. 2,500 plus fans in attendance tonight. And now Capetti appeared to bring it down maybe with a bit of his forearm, but no handball called. Back for Probo. He is looking for Gavork Diarbian every time he touches it. Musu knocked off of it by Pachella. But again, Probo couldn't connect with Diarbian. Now Diarbian gets on the ball. Patient work, feeds Messer. An early ball intended for Zangi that he could not keep in play along the end line.
Yeah, there's just been a little lack of quality from Messer's crossing this match. Just hasn't been necessarily as pinpoint as we're used to. We'll see if he can kind of just turn it up just a little bit, clean it up a little. The energy has been great from Vermont so far in the last 20 minutes, but that's hard to sustain for an entire 45 minutes. There's always going to be a little ebb and flow to the match.
And this time Ashford's whistled as he takes Tague Healy to the ground. And Tague Healy, keen to play the villain, a cheeky grin to the crowd as he gets to his feet. Already a pair of goals. This is a kid who's going to be playing in this rivalry, both Seacoast and Vermont Green, and New Hampshire against Vermont for years to come.
Yeah, he embraces it.
He's made for it. A look at the challenge from Ashford. Kind of goes through the back of Healy there.
Yeah, maybe just a little too much of the man.
It's Seacoast's turn to make a few changes. Left back, Addie Hicks from the University of New Hampshire enters. So he's on for Harrison Bertos, who was sitting on that yellow card.
Great touch.
I believe that's Richie Amon, the Washington Husky product, who brought it down. He's now in the game on the right-hand wing. Prego having some trouble. Capetti earns the corner after Pachella came in. And Seacoast will have the most recent chance inside the final 20 minutes. It is Richie Amon who takes the corner. It's loose in the box, and Max Murray sweeps it in. Green bodies on the turf. Murray celebrating, and Seacoast extend their lead. Those are the type of goals that Murray scored so often this year as a Vermont Catamount. Led the team with 10.
And as a striker, predominantly as a striker, but even if he's playing as center back, he's right there in the mixer. Keeps his eye on the ball. Good touch. Goal.
It fell right to him. After multiple chances for Vermont Green were denied, Seacoast have scored 3 unanswered. And now they've got a firm grip on the 3 points on the road.
There's enough time in this match for Vermont to nick one in real quick if they can in the next 5-10 minutes and see what they can do.
They've shown the type of firepower that can strike quickly.
Come on, guys, let's bring it up. They need us now. Let's be loud. Let's be proud. Let's go Green.
Ochoa Gomez, an early test for Diarbian. He's shoulder to shoulder with Stry. Cleared only as far as India. Probo, nifty. On to Messer's left foot. Messer to the end line. A lofted ball that Zangi's in the area of. Hicks won the first header. Benny Prego. Waiting for the overlap. Spots Diarbian. Handcuffed him a touch. And
Hughes doing a really great job again to break out of pressure.
Here's Healy. with options on either side. Richie Amon. The cross behind Brummett, right to the feet of Prego.
Zangi
Zangi loses out to Cargill. And Capetti slides it all the way back to Hicks. Musa Ndie the step up. DRBN's pass behind him. Richie Amon passes around Messer. Another crossed ball that Ashford gets in front of. Now all the pressure coming from Seacoast. Hughes pulling the strings. Alfie Hughes. That shot wasn't with his full power. Gobbled up by Christofferson.
I'm watching Pope right now, and he's kind of got his hands out a little bit from that ball from there. But honestly, I don't think he's working hard enough right now to create, especially at 3-1 down. You know, at this time, he's just hanging out between the two center backs. I expect him to be working the hardest to try to get that transition into attack. If he needs to drop in and grab the ball, that's fine. But otherwise, if you're not going to do that, then make the diagonal runs. I need to see more work out of him.
There's Pope on a run. Tackled by Barry, but it stays with Zangi in the green. Pacella. Again intended for DRB, and that had some pace to it. And now it's Messer. Numbers in the box for Messer. Probo on his left. Saved by Lee. Giorgio Probo got his left boot through it, but Lee's best stop of the night.
Good first touch. Fantastic strike. Goalkeeper had it red, though.
Could not beat Lee along the near post. And now a substitution again in the Vermont midfield. It looks like Dylan Lane enters for Pacella. Probo likely will move back in the formation alongside Ndia.
So a little bit more of a progressive substitution. Somebody who's going to get more into the attack a little bit versus Pacella.
Messer. Still 15 minutes and change to work with for Vermont Green, but they need to score one soon. That ball intended for Ndie. Who else wins the ball up in the air but the towering 6'5" Murray? But numbers for Cargill. He spots the run of Capetti.
That's offsides.
Dylan Lane chasing. Flag stays down. Capetti taken away by Christofferson.
Well, I guess they didn't agree with me on the offsides call.
Lane's first touch. Zangi through for Pope.
There it is. That's the run.
Alfie Pope trying to cut it back, but Lee gets on the end of it. That's the type of
That's better.
Kind of curious
yes,
run you're looking
exactly.
for. Jackson Lee has been solid tonight after allowing an early goal from DRBN. He's made a couple of fine stops.
Don't want to let that ball bounce.
Brummett goes to the ground looking for a foul on Messer, one he won't get. Zangi now playing centrally with Lane on this right-hand wing. Prego's overlap. Benny Prego has a step on Hicks. And again, Lee snatches. Prego, head in his hands, did not hit his target.
Just needs that little extra bit of quality. They're getting these chances. They're looking for the cross for it. But if you're going to have that cross, it's got to beat the keeper. It's got to be ahead of him just enough, and it's got to have more pace on it.
Again, it's Richie Amon. Ndie called for the foul. And a dangerous spot for a set piece. This is close to grade A territory.
Taking another look at this.
Yeah.
Just a little push with the left hand for it. Interesting. It's kind of annoying a little bit because that was the same exact scenario that happened with Zengi when he was driving in the box, but the ref didn't want to make that call when it was actually, either in the 18 or just on the 18. But he's happy to make that call when it's not a guaranteed penalty.
Yeah. Hughes and Healy standing over it. Brummett coming to give it a look as well. Tague Healy has been the man today. He's got 2 of the 3 Seacoast goals. Seacoast's quite content to take their time. And it's saved by Christofferson. Had to scramble to his right. Amon had the takeaway, but Dylan Lane scampers in.
No foul.
Now he's pressuring Hicks. Good energy from Dylan Lane, and that's going to be a Vermont Green throw. Probo. Capetti cuts it out. It could not squeeze its way for Messer. That stays in with Ochoa Gomez. Tight-roping the sideline.
Right. Got some English on it.
Prego. Messer's eyes up. DRBN, Ochoa Gomez, here's Probo. Zangi trying to bait his defender, and Cargill just knocked it away from him. And Cargill's going down as the flag is up on Austin Brummett.
Not sure what the pleading from Brummett is for that. There was clearly 5 feet offsides, but I understand. All strikers believe that they're never offsides.
Oh, of course. Now here come a pair of Seacoast substitutions. First up is Sam Green. He wears 16 in the blue and white, and Jack Burgess. Both listed as forwards on their respective rosters, but coming in, it looks like, in defensive positioning. Capetti moving to the top of the formation as Brummett heads to the sideline. Zangi asking for it. And he takes a shove in the back. That time it was Barry who stabbed in looking for the ball, pleading that he won the ball cleanly. He went through the back of Zangi there pretty clearly.
Yeah, he did not win the ball cleanly. No. Won the player.
And Zangi will likely remember that contact. This is a real scoring chance now. These are the ones that if you want to salvage a point tonight, a goal here is almost paramount.
Yeah, do it now while you still have about 10 minutes left.
It's Zangi to take. Top spinning ball to the near post. He didn't catch it cleanly.
Yeah, you got to beat the first man.
Falls for Zangi again, but Barry sweeps it high and clear. Christofferson, a quick restart for Proba. Now DRBN, a chance to open his legs for the first time in a while, but well done by Strine, that right back. Adam Pfeiffer barking out orders to his team from the sideline. That's a neat ball for Messer from Probo. Messer, what a move. He'll take a right-footed cross, but Murray, the man waiting. It's going to be hard to score on crosses with Barry and Murray in the middle at their sides.
Yeah, two very imposing center backs. So your crosses, they're going to have to be with a lot of pace for it. It's going to have to be pinpoint perfect. If anything, I would almost opt in to drive towards, the actual touchline and then drive, back across towards like the top of the 18 for it versus trying to go aerially when we don't actually have a tall center forward. Pope isn't going to win a lot of those headers versus these two center backs.
There's Coach Pfeiffer. Dylan Lane, a burst, beats Addy Hicks to the ball. But Barry steps in front of Zangi. Richie Amon, a good 1-2 with Capetti. Amon looked like he tried to put it on target. It's cleared back for Cargill. Healy down the line. Ochoa Gomez waiting. Diarbian, a burst. Here goes Gavork Diarbian. Leading the charge himself. Now numbers streaming forward for the green. Diarbian is off sides. The flag is up.
Great run by Diarbian. Did a lot of hard work there. Just unfortunately, didn't expect to get the ball back that quickly from Messer, and unfortunately was offsides.
Time starting to run short now for the green. Seacoast have done what they needed, scoring twice since halftime. First, it was a glorious strike from Healy, and then a Max Murray tap-in. 2 corner kick goals today for Seacoast, and we have not seen Vermont Green be all that threatening with their set pieces.
Vermont consistently, they have created chances. They're just sort of half chances in the second half. They're getting into the spaces. They're getting their opportunities for the cross. It's just that little bit of quality is missing.
Probo. What a ball. Dylan Lane. He's got Prego. Bernardo Prego. Just outside the reach of Zangi. Strine will be the one on the end. And just a bit of a jersey tug from Diarbian. Warrants a phantom free kick. Well, the scoreboard showing a pretty solid Seacoast performance. But I think it's fair to say, Matt, these two teams are quite evenly matched.
Yeah, and, it's the 2 goals especially, the one at the end of the second half and that most recent for the third goal, those are just things that you work on the training ground, that, that defense within like that the block right there on the 6-yard box off of a corner. Sometimes you play zonally. Maybe it looked like it was a little bit of man marking on that one. It's unfortunate. It fell directly to Alex Murray's feet. Have to move on from it.
Amon draws the free kick for Seacoast. And again, it's the goalkeeper, Lee, who was bailed out once on a Harrison Berto save from off his line. Took away what looked like a surefire Jake Ashford goal. Looking long for Peretti, who finds a spot in the box. And that strike just clears the bar. Sam Green, who scored 17 goals this fall for Missouri Valley College.
It looked like it took a deflection based off of what they're saying.
Does earn a corner. Maybe just got a piece of Messer. And Seacoast's just willing to kill clock at this point. Well, Matt, we knew this was going to be a challenge tonight. The top team in the division a year ago, a solid core of returners, young talent from top to bottom.
Yeah, I think, honestly, in that first half, the first 10, 15 minutes, Vermont Green had all the energy, and then they took their foot off the pedal a little bit in that half. And then you started to see it kind of turn into an even match. Both were just probing, keeping the ball a little bit. It felt very safe in that first half. Second half, Seacoast, clearly during halftime, they talked about what they wanted to do. They amped up their intensity. You could see it just based off of just the average sprints, the winning their tackles, the winning the second ball, everything, all those little details that add up to you creating more chances from it, and they were rewarded for it.
The next time these two teams clash as Amon takes it away from Ashford. How about that tackle from Ochoa Gomez? He just upends.
Fantastic tackle.
Amon. Diarbian. Gavork Diarbian. Draws the free kick. And he wants a yellow card in that as well. Well, one last chance for Vermont Green, perhaps at the death. Diarbian, so quick. He's played the full 90 minutes. Not a whole lot in that tackle, to be honest, from Burgess.
Yeah, I think Diarbian kind of got marked out of the game a little bit in the second half especially. I started to notice, 4 players all in that corner in that quarter of the field. Every time that he got to the ball, they wanted to shut it down, make him go back instead of being able to drive forward.
The left foot of Diego Ochoa Gomez is eyeing this up. Zangi with the right. It's Ochoa Gomez. Took a deflection. It's out for a corner. Into stoppage time. Zangi in the green look to cut in the deficit. Messer. And Lee rises up, takes it off the head of Ashford. And that might be the last big push forward from Vermont Green. They scored once and they scored early. At times looking clearly the most threatening. But Seacoast United will climb up the table tonight. Entered today with 4 points. They'll springboard the Green up to 7 points, while Vermont Green will hold steady at 6. Ashford over the top, but too much on it for Pope. When these two teams meet again, Matt, what could Vermont Green, I don't want to say tweak and change, but what's your approach against these guys the next time you see them?
I think, honestly, what I was asking out of Pope and Larache as well is when you start to see these teams, especially Seacoast, they started to press higher and it became more difficult to play out of the back. But if they're going to, if Ashford or Ochoa are going to be looking and they're going to try to break through that midfield for it, it's going to require Larache and Pope and DK, all of them, to start to join in a little bit deeper into the midfield. And then you've got all that pace out from whether it's Zengi, Adams, or, Diarbian out there.
Dylan Lane.
Spraying it out, wide and then getting them into the channels for it. It looks a little bit different versus kind of how it's been where I've noticed Pope is kind of just maintained like this central space. So is Larache too. not enough of those kind of running into the channels into the corner.
Probo, another ball on a dime for Lane. He couldn't handle it, and Hicks brings it down. Richie Ahmad, who's had a pretty flawless game since entering, gets tripped up. Now Zengi, a deflected strike that Barry got a piece of, and Lee is able to pounce. And there's the final whistle. 3-1 the final. Gavork DRB in the early goal, but then two Tag Healy strikes, followed by Max Murray's put-away finish. The 2,500 in attendance to their feet to applaud the effort from both sides in this Twin State rivalry. Vermont Green hit the road next at Blackrock FC on Monday, so a quick turnaround for Coach Pfeiffer and his crew. We'll see them next year at home for a friendly against Kingston Stockade on June 7th. The next home league match, not until June 17th, and that's against Western Mass. So a big stretch of games on the road coming up before they return home. Matt, going forward, what do they need to take away from this? As it is a loss for the second time at home against Seacoast United. Some positives, but definitely things to work on today.
Yeah, I think there's just a couple lessons to be learned from it. Obviously, Vermont was on kind of cloud nine for a while. They were, 0 goals against leading up to this match from it. And they gave up a couple, and some of them I think they could have done better on, especially that third goal for Alex Murray, basically almost uncontested. But granted, I understand that it fell into a very dangerous area, but somebody has to attack that ball. And those are things that you work on in the training ground. And I think you won't see too much of that. I think they'll improve upon it the more time that they're together. I think, honestly, what we talked about again from the center forwards is, if I understand that there's very much a system in play that we're noticing where playing out of the back, you try to get to DRB in or Adams or whoever's playing out right or left wide. But in times, I would like to see our center forwards check in a little bit deeper, link up with maybe Kamal or Zengi or whoever's playing in that 10 or even just anybody in this in the midfield, and then create that chance moving forward from there. Link up everyone, bring everyone in, especially when teams like Seacoast did tonight where they press up so high and you don't have a lot of time to play the ball.
And that'll do it for us tonight. Seacoast United comes away with the full 3 points. They go on the road and get it done. For Matt Montel and our entire production crew, I'm Brian McLaughlin. We'll talk to you next time from Virtue Field. This has been Vermont Green FC Soccer.